Good morning. Shalom to everyone. Welcome to Beth Tzedec. It's nice to have you here. I'm Shaul Osachi. I'm the senior rabbi. I don't use that word very often, senior, but I guess because the other people call the other rabbi baby rabbi. But don't tell anybody I said that. So, anyway, it's a pleasure to have all of you here, and we have a very important program today, and I'm very excited to be able to learn and to hear and to expand my horizons, and I'm sure you are as well. So, without further ado, who's next? I'm just welcoming you and saying hi. That's it. That's it. Oh, absolutely. Please come forward.
Well, I want to thank Beth Tzedec for hosting this event and also welcome all of you into this beautiful space for this very important time together. So shall we just pause for a moment of blessing. Creator of all life, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for all the gifts of the earth and her abundance, for those things that have nurtured this land for thousands and millions of years. We are grateful for the people of Treaty 7 who have looked after this land for so long. We give thanks for all who are here now and seeking to honor the land, honor each other, and honor the future. We ask that you bless our gathering this day, and that you bless the food we are about to receive, all those who had any part in harvesting it and cooking it and bringing it to the table. Bless our gathering and be with us as we open our minds and our hearts to the future and to one another. In the name of all that is good, abundant, and beautiful, we pray. Amen.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Tremblay. I'm the minister of Knox Presbyterian Church on 37th Street. I'm also a member of the Calgary Interfaith Council. And it's through the efforts of the Calgary Interfaith Council that this event is happening today. I'm very happy that so many have been able to come out for this afternoon. I think it's going to be a very interesting workshop. I want to thank the rabbi and congregation of Beth Tzedec for offering to host us and feed us this afternoon. It's a wonderful space, so thank you. I also want to recognize Kairos Canada and also the Healing and Reconciliation Fund of the Presbyterian Church in Canada for their contributions to the workshop and making the recording of this workshop possible. So there will be a DVD after the event, and details of that will be made known through various ways and means. We're going to circulate a sheet, a nice pad of paper. I presume you have a pen. And if you'd like to put your name, your affiliation, and your email, it's a way in which we might be able to keep in touch and circulate notices like the availability of the DVD to you. So that'll come around in a few moments. I'd like to recognize all of you in the room for being here, as I said, but I also wanted to highlight 3 government offices that are being represented here this afternoon. I think it's a very wonderfully diverse group that we have, and I think that speaks volumes to the importance of what we're trying to find out about this afternoon. I'd like to recognize from Minister Ganley's office, Paisley. She's just sitting at the back here. And also from Minister Cece's office, Kevin. And also from Minister Kazam's office.
She's just MLA Kazam, but I'm right here.
That's Jonathan. So thank you for your participation and interest in coming to this event, all of you. Now, at this time, I'd like to welcome Bill Phipps up to the podium because he has an announcement that he'd like to make.
Short but very exciting announcement. The Calgary Peace Prize this year, the 10th time we've awarded the Calgary Peace Prize to a global person or persons who are outstanding in building peace. The recipients on April 7 at Mount Royal University are going to be the 3 commissioners of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So we're all delighted that they have accepted this. So please mark it in your books, and we'll be getting out on all the different variety of ways you get things out these days, how you can get tickets and so on. But it's at Mount Royal University starting at I think 7 o'clock on April 7th.
I'd like to ask Diana Lorenshaw to come up. Thanks.
I was asked by Mark to come and to say, Doreen, thank you so much for being among us and with us and sharing your journey, especially with the UNDRIP and your experience in Geneva and everything. I want to acknowledge we're on Blackfoot Territory, the Confederacy of Blackfoot Territory, Treaty 7, and want to give you this as an elder. We are grateful that you're spending this time with us this afternoon and will lead us and show us the way. I'm learning.
Greetings, all my relations. Saddle Lake, Virginia. I am from the Saddle Lake Reservation. Bald Eagle Woman Who Leads, Nsekasun. That's my sacred name. And I'm very honored to be here today. And I especially want to give gratitude for this forum, like coming to fruition. It's been a long time. It's been a dream of mine. I want to give great gratitude to the Rabbi Osachi. Thank you so much for the welcome. Thank you for the food. You always know how to reach the soul of a Cree. That's feed them, and they'll always keep coming back. So I appreciate that. I've been asked to speak on the United Nations Declaration on Indigenous Peoples. Before I do that, I really want to honor the ancestors, my ancestors, your ancestors. Without them, we would not be in the room together today. So I'm just going to call upon them to be with us. Check him. Check him. Check him. Oh. Check him. Hey. Sina peo kesimantu kaki ono akumak nanaskum nawa umakami giskak minan maskoatsu and minai misu and kotawinan kitmagnaunan Great Spirit, Creator, Grandfather, Grandmother spirits, to all those divine entities that have guided us this far, I come before you to give you humble gratitude for this opportunity of coming together with one heart, one mind, and one spirit. I ask that you open our hearts, and I ask that you lead us through this afternoon's forum. I ask your blessings upon each one in this sacred circle. I give humble gratitude from my heart for all the beautiful things and the beautiful people that brought us together in a humble way. Hi, all my relations. Oh. So when I was asked to put this forum or to do the presentation today, I went into meditation to see what the best way to do this. And when you're in deep prayer and meditation, I always get my best guidance from that. For me, I have a very personal story with the subject at hand. Because there was a time in my life where I got so discouraged. Everything was so dark. Nobody would listen. It seemingly like I was dealing with a bunch of pink flamingos with their heads buried in the sand. So I had the opportunity through being an activist that I had friends in Europe, and they said that perhaps to take this issue to the United Nations. So I volunteered. So my story then took me to Geneva in Switzerland. I found myself at the gates in Geneva, being told that we could not enter. There was about 30 people, a few from Canada. And so I asked, why? The elders said to me, if anyone can get us in, Doreen, it's you. So I went to the gate and I said to the guard, why can't we get in? We are Indigenous peoples around the globe. Nobody will listen to us back home. We are in a critical state. We need to voice our concerns to the United Nations. And he said, I already told you, madame, you cannot go in. I said, why? And he said, because you need a pass. I said to him, that's silly. That's the case of what came first, the chicken or the egg? And I said, so we can't get a pass, but we need to get in. So we need to get in order to get a pass. So you tell them to come here and tell me that. I want to see all of those people. I want to see the Human Rights Commissioner. I want to talk to Ibarima Fall. I want to talk to Miguel Cobos Martinez. I want to talk to all those people that count in those offices. You bring them here to the gate to tell us Indigenous people that we don't have the right to be heard. You're the forum of the United Nations of the world. Nobody else will listen to us. So you have to. And of course we had media. So I said, look at the media. So then we saw them coming, and they weren't just walking. They were actually hustling down. I could see them coming, and I stood there, and I waited. They got to us, to our group, and they said to me, I told them again, I said, we want to get in. We want to be heard. We're Indigenous people. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here for as long as you don't give us a pass. We're going to be here. So you have to get us a pass now. So we did. They gave us a building across the way from the United Nations. And in that building, they took our, of course, it was like going through extreme security, and put us through the paces. And then they gave us the pass with our pictures on. We got to the UN, into the building. They gave us a room. We discovered we didn't have any paper or anything for our faxes. So I happened to be walking along, and I saw this gentleman, and I knew he was an official from the Iranian government. So I went over to him and I said, "My dear brother, we're in a crisis. We need paper for fax machines and for our interventions. Would you please sponsor us for some paper?" And he said, "How much do you need?" I said, "Oh, I will start with 10 or 12 boxes." He said, "When do you need them?" And I said, 10 minutes ago. He said, "Where do I deliver it to?" And I said, "To the DOSIP office." By this time, one of our Canadian Indigenous brothers, Kenneth Deere, who was our secretary, who became our secretary, was there, and he said, we got an office to work out of. DOSIP said they would allow us to use their fax machines and stuff like that. So we had the boxes of paper delivered there. That was kind of the beginning of the declaration. I didn't realize the bureaucracy. I didn't realize what it took to just do a presentation. But I soon learned how to do interventions. And believe me, you had to think on your feet. With that, there was also almost simultaneously, I had taken a sacred run through Europe, again because of lack of my government's listening to our issues at home. And I took this run through to the United Nations. That was after the opening of the declaration. With that, we gathered a lot of support because I went up and spoke to every mayor in those cities in Switzerland, met with them and told them what was happening back home. So that's how come this little booklet came to be. I want to give gratitude to all those people, very, very strong, dedicated, loving people, such as Wilton Littlechild from Hobima Reservation, international lawyer. He was a member of Parliament for several years. He was instrumental in the work that was done because we didn't have a legal background, but he guided us. We also had other people such as Sharon Stanley Venn. Again, she's Cree. She's also from Canada. And we had Dr. Ted Moses, who was actually from the James Bay Cree area. And he was amazing, amazing, strong people. And so we would sit in council. And the first thing that we realized was we weren't even organized for an agenda as people. And so went to the council, World Council of Churches, and Bob, the minister of the church, allowed us to use his building every year, where we would go ahead of time and we would do the preliminary work. What's the agenda? What are we going to talk about? And as we started to grow, our group grew from 30 to approximately 1,000 people from around the globe. It caught on very quickly. And I realized why we were there. I realized that there was a legacy that needed to be told, that needed to be heard. My pain was a lot of people's pain. And I recall as I was coming through, when I'd get frustrated, I'd go over and sit with the elders, especially through university. And I remember Mary, one spot from the Sutina reservation. She said to me, "My girl, you have patience. That's a gift that you do have. You have an education. You have to continue to work on that education. You have to be able to speak their language and understand them. What makes them tick? What is it that we need to do to come together as a family of the two-legged race?" She said to me, "I know you came from the same era that I came from. We were not allowed to get an education beyond grade 3. You snuck through. You put yourself through 3 years of Bible college, and then on into nursing, which was absolutely, totally against government policy. And then now you're going to this big school." And she said, "You need to do the best you can, because your voice is the voice of all those silent people out there. Someone has to talk for them. Someone needs to represent them in a good way." So when I was looking at this presentation today, I realized that there are many people that do not know who we are as Indigenous peoples. And so I put together some slides. Monique, probably the one on the circle. Oh, the smudge. Yeah. We generally start off with a smudge, but I was told, I noticed the ceilings were very low and that we have very sensitive alarms in this room. So I was not allowed, I didn't want to create an issue, so I didn't want to put on my smudge and then scare everybody out. What I have done, though, is I did bring the smudge. I just wanted to explain it a little bit. First of all, why smudge? Because it helps me to bring my body, mind, emotions, and spirit together. It purifies and cleanses my aura. It is also very much like incense. It doesn't harm anybody. Those who think they're allergic to it, they have an issue. There's no such thing as having an adverse effect towards sacred medicine. And so when I smudge, I usually start off to cleanse and purify the mind, to make sure that I'm in a good place, that I come with good thoughts, good intentions, that I may see with my two eyes those very beautiful things inside each spirit that's sitting in front of me. The breath of life, to give gratitude for each breath. Life is not a given, it is a gift from Creator. And my mouth, that I may always speak those words from my heart with truth, honesty, and loving kindness. And then my entire body, that I may be in balance and in harmony with all that exists. So that is the reason why we smudge. I value walking into sacred space like this because I know the people that are in this space also have the similar philosophies, values that we have as Indigenous peoples. So that's kind of the smudge. And we were going to take time just to try to go around and see who was who. Would you like to just briefly introduce yourself?
My name is Annette.
Can't hear you.
Where are you from?
Hi, my name is Annette, and I'm from Calgary, and I have the fortune of coming here and just continuing my learning and be in the presence of other people who've experienced things before.
My name is Sister Jared Curran, and I come from the FCJ Christian Life Center.
My name is Elena Friedman. I'm with the Religious Society of Friends, Calgary monthly meeting.
My name is Jerry H., and I am from St. Lawrence Anglican Church.
Anna Greenwood-Lee from the Anglican Diocese of Calgary and the Wisdom Center.
Nora Farquharson, Church of St. Lawrence.
Jacqueline Wesleski, honored to be in everyone's company here.
Margot Millard.
And Ken Thompson.
And Doreen Thompson, Robert McClure United Church.
Tennessee, Andrea Kennedy. My sacred name is Poma Kamaya Kobeku. I'm originally from Northern Ontario. I'm a nursing professor at Mount Royal, and I love grandmother.
I'm Sherry Kellogg with the City of Calgary High Center. I am originally from the Big Stone Cree Nation in Northern Alberta, Treaty 8, and yeah, I guess that's it.
I'm Jacqueline Shaw. I'm with St. Mary's University.
Daniel Love from St. Paul Eclectic Interfaith Center.
My name is Robin. I'm from Canmore, from the Treaty of Seven Nations, and I'm quite involved with underprivileged and vulnerable populations.
Anna Kwong with the Aboriginal Urban Calgary Aboriginal Urban Affairs Committee.
Ross McDougall, and I am also with the Aboriginal Urban Affairs Committee.
Tracy Robertson, St. Thomas United.
Susan Hull, I'm a supervisor with Youth Probation City of Calgary, and I'm also on the Indigenous Justice domain.
I'm Tracy Braun, I'm with the Calgary Chamber of Voluntary Organizations.
Bill Phipps, United Church.
Carolyn Volk.
Hello, my name is Sarah Arthurs, and I'm with News Scoop YYC, which is a news co-op doing generative journalism.
I'm Diana Lorraine Shaw. I'm with Western Church in Canada and serve the Synod of Alberta in the Northwest.
Dave Bridge, Lutheran Church of the Cross.
I'm Brandon Wardenberg, and I'm with the Mustard Seed.
And I'm Alma Marie, also with the Mustard Seed.
John Look with the Mustard Seed.
Bill Nixon with the Mustard Seed.
Samantha Sack-Smith with the Mustard. Michelle Stott, not with the Mustard. I'm at St. Mary's University as the First Nations Métis Nation.
I'm Jean Dubé. I'm from State. I'm the Aboriginal Student Advisor.
It's Mara Himmelsbeck. My traditional name is Manjiri Shakuziswero. My home community is Ellie Cree Nation. And then the Aboriginal liaison for ACAD, the Alberta College of Arts and
Marilyn Cheney from the People United.
Gwen Doreen from the United Church.
Myrtle Markle Presbyterian Church.
I'm Emma Paddy from Red Deer Lake United Church.
Katie Motlow United.
Bob Matlow, McDougall United. Mazajishni, interested in interfaith and human rights.
Linda Ya, working for Linda Ya. I represent myself.
Eva Torn Thomas, Calgary Baha'i Community.
Kevin Smith here on behalf of Minister Josisi.
Good afternoon, I'm Amanda Enns. I'm originally from Waterhen Lake Cree Nation in northern Saskatchewan, and I'm an Aboriginal strategist for Vibrant Communities Calgary.
Good afternoon, I'm Roy Bear Chief. I'm from Synagogue, just an hour's drive east of here, and I also work with Vibrant Communities Calgary as a regional consultant.
Well, us too are from the Anglican Church. I'm Greg Altman.
I'm Jonathan Puccina. I'm here on behalf of the local MLA, Adam Chasm, for Calgary North.
I'm Julian Hendrickson. I'm from the Anglican Diocese of Calgary. I am the deacon at Satina St. Barnabas Anglican Church, and I'm also a representative from the Alberta Association for Multicultural Education.
I'm Heather Weber. I work with SIM Canada. Rochelle Rabinovitz, Beth Tzedec Synagogue.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be on all. I'm Syed Hadi Hassan, Imam of the Hussaini Association of Calgary, the main Shia center in Calgary.
Asmat from Hussaini Association from Calgary.
I'm Judy Fernandez with the Calgary Aboriginal Urban Affairs Committee.
My name is Curtis Olson. I'm with the City of Calgary.
My name is Kate Lisbon. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Kathleen Family.
Hello, I'm Diane Cressy, the CEO of the Calgary Homeless Foundation.
Joel is actually Rabbi of Beth Tzedec, and my sacred name is Shaul Ben Yisrael Yosef.
And Mark Tromp.
And Monique Fry, originally from the Chan First Nation, which is part of the Stalo Tribal Councils in British Columbia. And I am the Indigenous liaison with Calgary Learns, and worked with Doreen and some of the other community members formerly of the Calgary Urban Aboriginal Initiative. So, yes, welcome. I'm her Scapio, computer Scapio today.
Was that everybody? What about the cameraman?
Dwayne Wells, and I'm known as the cameraman.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, everyone. So when I thought about the presentation, I reflected back on all of my experiences going into various agencies, especially government buildings, institution, churches included. I always felt that I understood the people I was working with, meeting with, but I always felt a lack of understanding of them acknowledging our culture, our traditions, our way of life. So I teach a 2-day class. It's called Traditional Native Teachings, TNT 101, I call it. And it takes 2 days to get through, and I'm still pressured for time. But I did a compilation of teachings right from one end of Canada to the other end, talking to the elders, and came across the similarities. What is it that brings us together as First Nations people? It is our philosophy, our way of life. We believe in the sacred circle of life. We believe there are natural laws, and we must abide by those natural laws. We believe in the holistic approach, the spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional well-being of the individual. I remember as a young person going through school, and I thought, I get to college, I'm going to learn about the spiritual, mental, physical, emotional well-being. No such luck. I learned about the mental and the physical, but my granny always told me to be balanced, you have to acknowledge your spiritual and the emotional aspects of yourself. If you don't look after the emotional, you can become imbalanced. Also, the old people always said there were 4 races of man: the red, yellow, black, and white people, each coming with their own personal sacred gifts to the universe. The white people, for instance, they're very good at articulating on paper. They're gifts of the mind. They put the man on the moon. Yellow race, they bring us the gifts from across the waters, technology. I would assume if you looked at any of the equipment made in Japan or made in Taiwan, made in China. If you look at the black people, they're very tenacious. They recovered from the slavery that they went through. They have innate gifts of the arts and cultures, the songs, the dance. The red race, our indigenous peoples, they bring us gifts and knowledge of their sacred connection to the universe. They know every plant. My old granny had a name for everything. She knew what plant was used for what in terms of medicine. And so the people, our people, we don't have an organized religion. We have a way of life which is synonymous with the church, because the church believes in God. They believe there's a greater creator that created this magnificent universe that we live upon. And so therefore, with us, the teachings are very personal. The 4 realms, for instance, the North realm teaches me that I must take good care of myself, that I must regain balance in my life, developing an understanding of myself. You can read that probably. Do you want to read it, Monique?
Sure. Regain balance in my life by developing an understanding of the important connection between the physical, physiological, spiritual, and emotional parts of my existence. Stop inflicting pain, either physically or emotional, on others or myself. Come to an understanding that change is a process.
Yeah, east.
Into the east, the realm of knowledge and enlightenment. Reawaken to all of creation and all of the beauty that exists in the world around me. Make a commitment to release myself from a narrow view of life and begin to grow, learn, and gain knowledge. Remember that I have a sacred right to live my life as I wish, and the need to bring harmony and balance to my existence by respecting the life rights of others. Work on understanding the changes I must make in order to achieve personal harmony, balance, and freedom. To the
south direction, the spiritual realm.
Come to an understanding of my special relation of Mother Earth. Release my pain to Mother Earth. Come to an understanding of my special relation to Father Sky. Seek a greater understanding of my special relation to Father Sky. Reconnect with and nurture my own spirit.
The west realm, realm of introspective thought.
Speak honestly with myself. Look at my problems and my accomplishments with a willingness to commit myself to positive growth and change. Examine the ways in which I have tried to manipulate, control, or manage the lives of others, and make a commitment to this behavior. Acknowledge that change in my life must begin with me.
Hi. Thanks. Next one. We also believe in our very sacred connection with Mother Earth. Mother Earth is a living being. She has her own bones, which are the rocks in the mountains. She has her own energy lines and magnetic fields. she also has her own bloodline, the lakes, the rivers, and the streams. And so Mother Earth is our church. We want silence or pray. We can connect with her energy. She sustains us. She provides all we need, all our needs. Father Sky, I was surprised working with my Indigenous brothers and sisters from around the world. It didn't matter what country was colonized. We all had that same sacred connection. The Ainu of Japan, the Aborigines of Australia, the Sami of Norway, Finland, and Sweden, the Russian brothers and sisters, those from the islands. We could sit in ceremony together and understand each other. When our brothers and sisters from the south pray, they say Pachamama for Mother Earth. They say Father Cosmos. We say Father Sky. And the teachings that go around that, the teepee, those are utmost values to us that we must uphold. It's a lifelong learning process. In my community, we have some young elders. You start as a very young child learning experientially. I'm so fortunate to stand before you today and say my grandparents and my great-grandparents had the foresight to hide me from the Yokimaus. I never went to residential school, but I know what it was like to sit in a haystack for many hours, sharing my little space with the mice. Obedience. Did you want to read that? I can't see it.
Obedience. We learn by listening to traditional stories, by listening to our parents and guardians, our fellow students and our teachers. We learn by their behavior and their reminders so that we know what to do and what not to do. Respect. We give honor to our elders and fellow students and the strangers that come to visit our community. We must honor other people's basic rights. Humility. We are not above or below others in the circle of life. We feel humbled when we understand our relationship with creation. We are very small compared to the majestic expanse of creation. We are just a strand in a web of life, and it is appropriate to respect and value life. Happiness. We must show enthusiasm to encourage others at social functions. These actions make our ancestors in the next world happy. Love. If we are to live in harmony, we must accept one another as we are and accept others who are not in our circle. Love means being kind and good to one another. Faith. We must learn to believe and trust others, to believe in a power greater than ourselves, that we honor and that gives us the strength to be a worthy member of the human race. Kinship. Our family is important to us. This includes our parents, our brothers and sisters who love us and give us roots, the roots that tie us to the lifeblood of the earth. It also includes extended family, grandparents, aunts, cousins, uncles, in-laws, and children. These are also our brothers and sisters, and they give us a sense of belonging and community. Cleanliness. We must learn not to inflict ill upon others. For what we do to others, we do to ourselves. Clean thoughts come from a clean mind, and this comes from Native spirituality. Good health habits also reflect a clean mind. Thankfulness. We learn to give thanks for all the kind things others do for us, and for Creator's bounty. We are privileged to share that with others in the spirit of love. Sharing. We're learned to be a part of the family by helping and providing food and other basic needs. We share in these responsibilities in order to enjoy them. Strength. We must learn to be patient in times of trouble, and not to complain, but to endure and show understanding. We must accept difficulties and tragedies so that we may give others strength to accept their own difficulties and tragedies. Good child rearing. Children are unique and blessed with the gift of life. We are responsible for their well-being, spiritually, emotionally, physically, as well as their intellectual development. They represent the continuity of our circle of life, which we accept as Creator's will. Hope. We must hope for things that make life better and easier for us, our families and the community, both materially and spiritually. Ultimate protection. The ultimate responsibility is to achieve a balance of health by caring for the body, mind, emotions, and the spirit of the individual, the family, the community, and the nation. And finally, the control flaps. We are all connected by relationships, and we depend on each other.
Do you want to flip back to the picture of the teepee? I think one of the most profound statements there is the one about relationships. You'll see where the poles are tied together. In the old days, everything inside the teepee were the women's responsibility. Everything outside the teepee was the man's responsibility. When I speak of love, I don't talk about Liz Taylor's type of love. It is unconditional love, doing whatever it takes for the betterment of the whole. And I always say, Creator, I just want to get it right this time. I don't want to come back next time and go through all this pain. I just want to get it right. So my journey through all of these experiences with the United Nations, the Declaration, the sacred run through Europe, and some of the books that I've written, you'll see 3 or 4 of them here. I'm hoping that it will touch the hearts of each one of you. We're here for a reason. We're here to promote well-being. We're here to come and gather and learn from each other. I always tell the people that I work with, don't look at me as your guru. I stand and I walk beside you. I do not walk in front. I do not walk behind you. I walk beside you. Just like an oak tree, there to stand and support you. So I will tell you today, as long as I'm standing on my little 2 Cree legs, I will be there to support you if you decide to take the big step and assist in this much-needed journey together. There's also the 7 sacred laws. Do you want to go through those for me, Monique, please?
Sure. So the eagle symbolizes love. Always act in love. Love the Creator, love the earth, love yourself, your family, and your fellow human beings. The buffalo symbolizes respect. Respect all life on Mother Earth. Respect elders and people of all races. The bear symbolizes courage. Listen to your heart. It takes courage to do what is right. Sabe, or Bigfoot, symbolizes honesty. Never lie or gossip. Be honest with yourself and others. Speak from your heart. Be true to your word. The beaver symbolizes wisdom. Everyone has a special gift. Show wisdom by using your gift. The wolf symbolizes humility. Think of others before yourself. Humble yourself to the Great Spirit by being thankful. And finally, turtle symbolizes truth. Always seek truth. Living the truth is living the 7 teachings.
Hi. Can go into the declaration.
So, Doreen picked out a number of different articles from the Declaration specifically that she wanted us to highlight and to look at. And she does have small little booklets for everybody if you'd like. Hopefully there's enough for everybody that we got from the Human Rights Commission. They're a nice small little pocket size. She calls it her little Bible. And everyone hopefully can take one home with you today. So, of course, Doreen told us the wonderful story of how some of it started out, and it took quite a while from then until this was adopted by the General Assembly in 2007. So that bureaucracy piece of getting it all figured out, and as we know, Canada has only recently signed on to it, but with conditions. And so you'll see, I guess, from some of the language, maybe we can have an understanding of why they might have had conditions. So, Article 8 says, Indigenous peoples and individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. As you can see, some of these things, if it had been around before, in the time of colonization, and if there was more legislation in order to protect us, some of these things could have been avoided. And I think part of the question is then, how do we redress these type of concerns after the fact? So states shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention and for redress. Any action which has the aim or the effect of depriving them of their integrity as distinct peoples, or of their cultural values or ethnic identities. Any action which has the aim or effect of dispossessing them of their lands, territories, or resources. Any form of forced population transfer which has the aim or effect of violating or undermining any of their rights. Any form of forced assimilation or integration. Any form of propaganda designed to promote or incite racial or ethnic discrimination directed against them. Article 12. Indigenous peoples have the right to manifest, practice, develop, and teach their spiritual and religious traditions, customs, and ceremonies. The right to maintain, protect, and have access and privacy to their religious and cultural sites. The right to the use and control of their ceremonial objects, and the right to the repatriation of their human remains. States shall seek to enable the access and or repatriation of ceremonial objects and human remains in their possession through fair, transparent, and effective mechanisms developed in conjunction with Indigenous peoples concerned. Article 13. Indigenous peoples have the right to revitalize, use, develop, and transmit to future generations their histories, languages, oral traditions, philosophies, writing systems, and literatures, and to designate and retain their own names for communities, places, and persons. States shall take effective measures to ensure that this right is protected, and also to ensure that Indigenous peoples can understand and be understood in political, legal, and administrative proceedings, where necessary, through the provision of interpretation or by other appropriate means. 22. Particular attention shall be paid to the rights and special needs of Indigenous elders, women, youth, children, and persons with disabilities in the implementation of this declaration. States shall take measures in conjunction with Indigenous peoples to ensure that Indigenous women and children enjoy the full protection and guarantees against all forms of violence and discrimination. 24. Indigenous peoples have the right to their traditional medicines and to maintain their health practices, including the conservation of their vital medicinal plants, animals, and minerals. Indigenous individuals also have the right to access, without any discrimination, to all social and health services. Indigenous individuals have an equal right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. States shall take the necessary steps with a view to achieving progressively the full realization of this right. 32.3. States shall provide effective mechanisms for just and fair redress for any such activities, and appropriate measures shall be taken to mitigate adverse environmental, economic, social, cultural, or spiritual impact. And finally, Articles 38, 40, and 41. States, in consultation and cooperation with Indigenous peoples, shall take the appropriate measures, including legislative measures, to achieve the ends of this declaration. Indigenous peoples have the right to access to and prompt decision through just and fair procedures for the resolution of conflicts and disputes with states or other parties, as well as to effective remedies for all infringements of their individual and collective rights. Such a decision shall give due consideration to the customs, traditions, rules, and legal systems of the Indigenous peoples concerned and international human rights. The organs and specialized agencies of the United Nations system and other intergovernmental organizations shall contribute to the full realization of the provisions of this declaration through the mobilization, inter alia, of financial cooperation and technical assistance. Ways and means of ensuring participation of Indigenous peoples on issues affecting them shall be established.
And inter alia means among other things, so that's kind of a word that I wasn't too familiar with. This little book gave a lot of hope to a lot of people around the world. What gave me the ability, the courage, the strength and determination was the people from Europe. I remember way back when I was young, we did the blockade, Lubicon blockade, and we had a lot of people come from Europe to support us, but very few from Canada. With that group, we formed an alliance, and it was with their support that we were able to carry on this work with the United Nations in Geneva. To me, the Declaration affirms people's rights of self-determination, and it underlines the prohibition of discrimination and genocide in international law. The Declaration calls on states to honor and respect the treaties and other agreements they have entered into with Indigenous peoples, to protect Indigenous languages, culture, and to uphold Indigenous peoples' rights to lands, territories, and resources. That was absolutely imperative for us because today there's still much talk about how the land was acquired. I did an intervention, I think it was Chomsky, from Chomsky's book, on Terra Nullius, the empty land. The old people signed those documents with the pipe ceremony, thinking that that was a sacred way of securing the land, and all of those treaties and agreements for the people. And that wasn't to be so. We're still struggling for our rights. The Declaration affirms the inherent or pre-existing collective human rights of Indigenous people, as well as the human rights of Indigenous individuals. It provides a framework for justice and reconciliation. Here we go again with the reconciliation. Applying existing human rights standards to the specific historical, cultural, and social circumstances of Indigenous peoples. The Declaration reflects a range of human rights standards that have emerged over the last 3 decades through the work of international and regional human rights bodies as they have dealt with violations against Indigenous peoples. Many of these standards, such as the provisions of international human rights conventions and customary international law, established clear obligations for states. As we actively engaged with fully and effective implementation of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And then that's where it goes on to talk about, we urge that governments, in conjunction with Indigenous peoples, use the Declaration as a basis for reviewing and reforming laws and policies to ensure that Indigenous peoples' rights are upheld without discrimination. And it goes on to talk about the tribunals and so forth. To me, I always like to put the humanness into these documents. You can take this book and you can read it phrase by phrase. But the important thing is to put the people. My work has been about the people. And I live in a country which I know we cannot go on like this as we have. It is time to really work together, to collaborate. When I leave this world, I want to leave a legacy for my people. I was taught, whatever you do, do it for the betterment of the whole. Put your ego outside and do whatever you can for the people. I had a lady, she just brought tears to my eyes the other day. She was a Native woman who had a job here in the city of Calgary. She's from a reserve about 60 miles away from here. And she was going by my place, and I saw her picking bottles. So I ran out and I told her, I have some bags for you. I went downstairs and I put 5 bags, great big bags of bottles. She started to cry, and she said, I hope that I'm only here temporarily. I run into hard luck, and there's nobody to help. She said, I have this idea in my heart, this knowing deep within my heart. There are angels among us, and you're one of them. That, to me, is the way each one of us should be thinking. I think I'm going to stop at this time and take a break for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. Hi.